Imagine working for a billionaire. A man everyone admires. Powerful, brilliant, untouchable. You think you know him. You trust him. Maybe, you even start to fall for him. But then, one night, you discover a name he's been hiding. A name tied to a deadly fire. A man who vanished years ago, accused of destroying lives and running from the law. Your boss isn't Jack Edwards, the billionaire genius. He's Anthony Walker, fugitive, liar, and a man the FBI has been hunting for over a decade. Now you're caught in the middle. If you expose him, you destroy the man you love. If you protect him, you risk everything, even your life. What would you do? Before we continue, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more stories like this. Jennifer Page stood in front of the tall glass building, craning her neck to look up at the endless windows glittering in the morning sun. The Edwards Corporation tower looked like it touched the sky. Everything about it screamed money, power, and mystery, three things Jennifer had never really had in her life. She took a deep breath, smoothing down the wrinkles in her cheap blazer. Don't mess this up, Jen. This is your chance. Inside, the lobby was spotless. Floors polished like mirrors, security guards standing like statues, and a receptionist with perfectly styled blonde hair tapping away on her computer. Jennifer walked up, trying not to let her nerves show. I'm here for an interview. Jennifer Page, she said, clutching her worn leather portfolio. The receptionist glanced at her list, nodded politely, and gestured to the elevators. Top floor. Mr. Edwards is expecting you. Mr. Edwards. The name already carried weight. Jack Edwards, the man who'd built a billion-dollar empire from almost nothing. Rumors swirled about him, ruthless, brilliant, dangerously private. Some said he had no past before his company suddenly appeared. Others said he destroyed anyone who crossed him. Jennifer had applied on a whim, never thinking she'd actually get a call back. But now here she was, her stomach flipping as the elevator carried her higher and higher. When the doors opened, she stepped into a space that was completely different from the sterile lobby. Jack Edwards's office floor was designed like a luxurious apartment, soft gray carpets, modern art on the walls, and a wide-open view of the city stretching out forever. A tall man stood at the window, his back to her. His suit was dark, perfectly tailored, his shoulders broad. He didn't turn when he spoke. Jennifer Page. His voice was low, smooth, but commanding. Yes, sir, Jennifer said quickly, forcing a smile. He finally turned. Jack Edwards's eyes were the first thing she noticed, sharp, steel gray, watching her like he could see everything she was hiding. His face was striking, handsome in a way that felt almost intimidating. Sit, he said simply, motioning to the leather chair across from his desk. Jennifer obeyed, placing her portfolio in her lap. She felt like her every movement was being measured. Jack sat across from her, fingers steepled. I don't waste time with small talk, Ms. Page. Why do you think you're fit to work as my assistant? Jennifer's throat tightened. She had rehearsed 100 answers, but under his gaze, they all vanished. She swallowed, forcing the words out. I'm organized. I work hard. And I don't quit easily. He raised an eyebrow. That's not an answer. Everyone says they work hard. Why should I trust you with access to my world? Something in his tone pushed her. Maybe it was pride, maybe desperation. She leaned forward, meeting his gaze. Because I need this, Mr. Edwards. I won't waste the chance. Whatever you ask me to do, I'll do it. You won't find anyone more determined than me. For a long moment, silence stretched between them. His expression didn't change, but she felt like he was weighing every word, every twitch of her face. Finally, his lips curved slightly, not a smile exactly, more like approval. Interesting answer, he murmured. Most people try to impress me with degrees or glowing recommendations. You chose honesty. Jennifer blinked. Did it work? For the first time, Jack's mouth tilted into something closer to a real smile. You'll find out soon enough. The interview continued, though it felt less like an interview and more like an interrogation. He asked about her background, her family, her last job. She tried to keep her answers professional, but he had a way of digging deeper, pressing until she revealed more than she intended. When it was over, he stood, extending a hand. "Welcome to Edwards Corporation, Ms. Page. You start Monday." Jennifer's heart leaped. She shook his hand, surprised at the warmth of his touch. "Thank you, Mr. Edwards. I won't let you down." He studied her again, those piercing gray eyes unreadable. "I hope not. I don't tolerate mistakes." As she left the office, her hands still trembling from nerves and excitement, she glanced back one last time. Jack Edwards had already turned away, staring out the window as if the world below was his to command. But just as she reached the elevator, she noticed something odd, a desk drawer half open. Inside, she glimpsed old, faded photographs. They showed a much younger Jack, but dressed in shabby clothes, standing beside people who didn't look like billionaires. Before she could look closer, a sharp voice rang out. "Ms. Page. The elevator is that way." She jumped. Jack's secretary stood nearby, watching her closely. Jennifer quickly stepped inside the elevator, her heart racing. Why would a billionaire keep photos like that hidden away? Jennifer's first week at Edwards Corporation was overwhelming. Jack demanded perfection in everything. His schedule was packed with meetings, calls, and late-night work. He gave orders quickly, expecting her to keep up without questions. At first, she thought he was impossible. He hardly spoke unless it was about business. He didn't laugh, didn't chat, didn't seem human at all. But sometimes, in rare unguarded moments, something softer slipped through. One rainy evening, after everyone else had gone home, Jennifer was still at her desk, organizing files. Jack appeared in the doorway, his tie loosened, his expression tired. "You're still here?" he asked. Jennifer jumped. Yes. I wanted to finish sorting these documents." He stepped closer, looking at the neat stacks of paper. Most assistants would have left hours ago. She gave a small shrug. "I don't like leaving things half done." His gaze lingered on her for a moment, and then he surprised her. "Coffee?" She blinked. "What?" "I was about to make one. You take yours with cream, no sugar, right?" Jennifer froze. How did you know that?" "I notice things," Jack said simply, before walking to the small coffee machine in his office. He returned a moment later, handing her a steaming cup. Jennifer stared at it, stunned. "Thank you." It was such a small gesture, but it felt huge. For the first time, she wondered if there was more to him than the cold exterior he showed the world. Over the next few days, she began to catch other small glimpses. The way he looked almost wistful when he saw children playing outside the office window. The way he sometimes stared at his phone like he was waiting for a message that never came. But then there were the other moments, the sharp edge of him. The way his expression turned to steel when someone challenged him in a meeting. The way his voice cut like a knife when he demanded results. One night, as Jennifer was leaving, she realized she had forgotten her bag in his office. The lights were off, but she heard his voice from inside. She hesitated, then paused at the door. "Yes. I told you never to use that name again," Jack said quietly, his tone sharp. Jennifer's stomach flipped. She leaned closer, trying to hear. "No. Anthony Walker is gone. He doesn't exist." The phone went silent. Jack sat at his desk, staring at nothing, his face pale and hard. Jennifer pressed a hand over her mouth, heart pounding. "Anthony Walker? Who is that?" She quickly grabbed her bag and slipped out before he noticed. But the words echoed in her head all the way home. That night, Jennifer lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Who was Anthony Walker? And why did Jack Edwards sound like that name was forbidden? The next morning, she looked at him differently. His perfect mask of control, his billionaire persona, it was hiding something. Something big. And now, Jennifer couldn't stop wondering. The words she had overheard, Anthony Walker is gone, haunted Jennifer like an echo she couldn't escape. All through the week, she found herself sneaking glances at her boss, watching his every movement. Jack Edwards was flawless on the outside. The crisp suits, the calm voice, the way people bent to his authority in meetings. He was the definition of success. But Jennifer knew now that beneath the surface, something else lurked. A past. A name. She couldn't let it go. On her lunch break one afternoon, she sat in a small cafe near the office with her laptop. The hum of conversation around her gave her cover as she typed Anthony Walker into the search bar. At first, nothing. Then, an old newspaper article, buried deep. Jennifer clicked. The headline sent a chill racing through her veins. Anthony Walker vanishes after alleged syndicate involvement. The article was dated over a decade ago. A grainy black and white photograph filled the page. A young man stared back at her. His hair was longer, his clothes rough, but his face. Jennifer's heart skipped a beat. It was Jack. The same steel gray eyes. The same sharp jaw. Only younger, thinner, and less polished. She whispered aloud, "It is him." The article painted a grim picture. Anthony Walker, son of a notorious crime enforcer, suspected of being tied to illegal dealings, then vanishing after a police investigation. His name linked to a world Jennifer had only ever seen in movies: crime families, underground trades, blood debts. The article ended with a single line: "Some say Anthony Walker is dead. Others believe he's still out there, hiding under a new name." Jennifer closed her laptop with trembling fingers. The cafe suddenly felt too crowded, too loud. She pressed a hand to her forehead. What have I stumbled into? Back at the office, Jack was standing at his desk when she walked in, phone pressed to his ear. His voice was calm, but the edge in it was unmistakable. "I told you, I don't want that name mentioned again. Not here. Not anywhere." Jennifer froze in the doorway. He turned his head slightly, his eyes catching hers. For a split second, she felt like he knew. Like he could see what she'd just read. "Cancel the meeting," Jack said curtly into the phone before hanging up. He stepped closer to Jennifer, his gaze unreadable. "You look pale. Something wrong?" Jennifer shook her head quickly. "No. Just a long day." He studied her for a moment, then nodded. "Don't push yourself too hard. I need you sharp." Sharp. The word rang in her ears. She wondered if he was giving her a warning. That night, unable to sleep, Jennifer pulled out her laptop again. This time, she searched Edwards Corporation origins. Nothing about Jack Edwards's early years. No record before age 25. It was like he'd appeared out of thin air. She rubbed her eyes, whispering, "Anthony Walker. Jack Edwards. Which one is real?" Her phone buzzed suddenly. She jumped, nearly dropping it. An unknown email notification flashed across the screen. The subject line: "He's not who you think he is." Jennifer's hands shook as she opened it. No sender, no signature. Just a single sentence. "He ruined lives. Don't trust him." Her breath caught in her throat. She slammed the laptop shut, heart pounding in her chest. The next morning, Jennifer walked into the office with the email burned into her mind. Every time she looked at Jack, the words screamed louder. He ruined lives. But the man she saw didn't look like a monster. He was composed, commanding, focused on his empire. Yet she couldn't forget the photograph, the article, the name. By midday, Jack called her into his office. "Sit," he said, motioning to the chair across from his desk. His eyes pinned her as though he sensed her unrest. "You've been distracted, Ms. Page." Jennifer tried to steady her voice. "I'm fine, Mr. Edwards." "You're lying." Her breath caught. His tone wasn't harsh, but it was cutting, sharp enough to strip away her defenses. She hesitated, then forced a laugh. "Just tired. That's all." He leaned back, studying her with unnerving calm. You're not very good at hiding things. I'll give you some advice. If you want to survive in this world, learn to wear a mask. The word mask made Jennifer's chest tighten. She looked down at her hands, then dared to ask, "And what about you, Mr. Edwards? Do you wear a mask?" Silence. The air grew thick between them. For a moment, she thought he would snap at her. Instead, he smiled faintly, but it wasn't warm. "Every man in power wears one," he said softly. "The difference is knowing when to take it off." Jennifer swallowed hard. She wanted to press him, to demand answers, but his eyes warned her off. The rest of the day passed in tense quiet. Jennifer buried herself in tasks, but her thoughts raced. She couldn't decide if she should quit now, run before she got in too deep. But then, that evening, she caught another glimpse of the man behind the mask. They stayed late again, going over files. Jennifer's eyes were blurry from staring at numbers when Jack suddenly leaned back in his chair, rubbing his temples. "You should go home," he said. "What about you?" she asked. "I don't really have a home to go to," he replied absent-mindedly. Jennifer blinked. "What do you mean?" He looked at her then, as if realizing he'd said too much. "Forget it." She hesitated, then spoke softly. "You don't always have to be strong, you know. Sometimes, it's okay to let people in." His expression flickered, the mask slipping for just a second. His voice dropped. "Letting people in gets them hurt." The raw honesty in his tone startled her. Before she could respond, he stood abruptly, straightening his suit. The walls slammed back into place around him. "Go home, Jennifer. I'll see you tomorrow." She left, but her heart was heavy with questions. That night, she couldn't resist anymore. She went digging deeper into Anthony Walker. She found another article, smaller, but more damning. A police report linked Anthony to a warehouse fire that had killed an innocent man. No proof, no conviction, but suspicion clung to his name. Jennifer sat frozen, staring at the screen. Could her boss, the man who'd shown her rare glimpses of kindness, really be responsible for someone's death? Her phone buzzed again. Another anonymous email. "If you care about your safety, stay away from him." Jennifer's heart hammered. She slammed her laptop shut, pressing her palms over her face. But even as fear clawed at her, another feeling tangled with it, something she couldn't explain. She should walk away. She should quit. And yet, a part of her didn't want to. She wanted to know the truth. She wanted to know the man behind the mask. The anonymous emails, the newspaper articles, the name Anthony Walker, they spun in Jennifer's head like a storm she couldn't escape. Every time she looked at Jack, she saw two versions of him, the commanding billionaire and the ghost of a man accused of terrible things. She told herself to keep her distance. But distance was impossible. That week, Jack announced that Edwards Corporation would host its annual charity gala. "You'll accompany me," he told Jennifer flatly as though it were an order, not a request. Jennifer blinked. "Me? At a gala? You're my assistant. You're expected to be there." His eyes flickered briefly over her, unreadable. "And besides, you clean up well." Her cheeks warmed at the compliment. She nodded, trying not to smile. The night of the gala, Jennifer stood in front of the mirror, barely recognizing herself. The long navy gown she'd rented shimmered in the light, and her usually messy hair flowed in loose curls over her shoulders. She took a shaky breath. "It's just a work event," she told herself. Nothing more. But when she arrived at the grand ballroom, the first thing she saw was Jack waiting near the entrance, dressed in a black tuxedo. His sharp features looked even more striking, and the way his eyes traveled over her made her heart stutter. "You look different," he said quietly. "Good different or bad different?" she teased, her voice unsteady. His lips curved faintly. "Good. Very good." The evening unfolded in a blur of champagne glasses, glittering chandeliers, and whispers from the city's elite. Jack moved through the crowd like a king, commanding attention wherever he went. Jennifer stayed close, feeling the weight of every stare that lingered on them. But then, near the edge of the ballroom, Jennifer noticed something. A man, older, heavyset, with slicked back hair, was staring at Jack with a strange expression. Recognition. Hatred. The man leaned toward another guest and whispered something. Jennifer caught one word on his lips: Walker. Jack froze for the briefest second. His jaw tightened, his eyes hardening into steel. Then he smiled as though nothing had happened and continued speaking with the investors around him. Jennifer's stomach churned. Walker. They had said Walker. Later, she stepped outside onto the balcony to catch her breath. The city stretched below, lights glittering like stars. She wrapped her arms around herself, trying to shake the unease. You shouldn't be out here alone. She turned. Jack had followed her, his expression unreadable. I needed air, she murmured. He stepped closer, his presence overwhelming. You heard it, didn't you? That name. Jennifer's throat tightened. She couldn't lie. Yes. Jack's gaze locked onto hers, sharp and searching. For a moment, she thought he would lash out. Instead, he reached for her hand, his voice low and rough. Jennifer. I'm not the man they think I am. But I'm not the man you think I am either. Her chest ached. Then who are you? Silence stretched between them, filled only by the distant hum of the city. His eyes softened for the first time, a crack in his armor. And before she could think, his lips were on hers. The kiss was desperate, almost bruising, filled with everything he couldn't say aloud. Jennifer's heart raced as she melted against him, torn between fear and something far more dangerous, want. When he finally pulled away, his voice was raw. You should stay away from me. I'll only drag you into my darkness. Jennifer shook her head, breathless. Maybe I don't want to stay away. His eyes closed, as though her words hurt him more than they healed. Without another word, he left her standing on the balcony, her lips still burning from the kiss. Later that night, after the gala ended, Jennifer returned to the office to drop off some files Jack had asked her to handle. His study was empty, dimly lit. She set the folders on his desk, but something caught her eye. The drawer. The same one she had seen cracked open weeks ago. Her hands trembled as she pulled it open, slowly. Inside, beneath the old photos, was a passport. Not Jack Edwards. Anthony Walker. Jennifer's breath hitched. It was real. He wasn't just hiding a past. He was hiding an entire identity. Jennifer barely slept that night. The passport burned in her memory like a brand. Jack Edwards, billionaire tycoon, wasn't real. He was Anthony Walker, the son of a crime enforcer. A man who had disappeared, who the world thought was dead. The next day at work, she could hardly look at him. But he noticed. Of course, he noticed. Something's on your mind, he said during a late meeting. Jennifer forced a smile. I'm fine. You're not fine, he replied calmly. His eyes bore into her. You're hiding something. You've been hiding it for days. She swallowed hard, her pulse quickening. Finally, she blurted it out. Who are you really, Jack? Or should I say, Anthony Walker? The silence in the room was deafening. His jaw tightened, his hand clenching into a fist on the desk. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, in a low voice, so you found out. Jennifer's chest rose and fell rapidly. Why didn't you tell me? Why hide who you are? Because Anthony Walker died 10 years ago, Jack said, his voice sharp. He had to die. Or neither of us would be sitting here right now. He stood, pacing the room like a caged animal. I was born into it, the violence, the syndicate, the endless cycle of blood. My father was an enforcer. I wanted out. The only way out was to disappear. Jennifer's lips parted. So you faked your death? Yes. He turned, his eyes stormy. I built Jack Edwards from nothing. Every deal, every company, every step, I clawed my way into this life. I will never go back to being Anthony Walker. Her voice was small. But the things I read, the fire, the man who died. Jack's expression darkened. You think you know everything because of some old newspaper clipping? You don't know the truth, Jennifer. Not all of it. His words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken confessions. Before she could press further, his phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, and for the first time, Jennifer saw something she'd never seen in him before: fear. He answered, his voice tight. Who is this? A pause. Then his face drained of color. He ended the call and turned to Jennifer, his mask slipping completely. They've found me. Her stomach dropped. Who? My father's enemies, Jack said, his voice grim. The syndicate. They never forget. And now, he trailed off, his gaze locking onto hers. Jennifer's phone buzzed at that exact moment. She pulled it out, and her blood ran cold. It was a message with a photograph of her leaving her apartment that morning. Below it, 6 chilling words. She will pay for what you stole. Jennifer's hand shook as she showed him the screen. Jack! His jaw hardened. He took the phone from her gently, then whispered, almost to himself, it's starting again. Jennifer's voice cracked. What do they want? Me. His eyes lifted to hers, fierce and unyielding. They want Anthony Walker. And if they can't have him, they'll come for the people closest to me. Her heart pounded. But that means... It means you're in danger. For once, the billionaire mask was gone. He wasn't Jack Edwards, the untouchable tycoon. He was Anthony Walker, the man running from a past that refused to stay buried. And now, Jennifer realized with a shiver, she was part of it. Jennifer couldn't shake the photograph from her mind, the image of herself leaving her apartment, paired with the chilling words, she will pay for what you stole. The threat was real. The danger was closer than ever. And the man she worked for, the man she was beginning to love, was at the center of it. That night, Jennifer sat in her tiny apartment, staring at the wall. Her phone vibrated. She hesitated before answering. Jennifer Page, a calm voice asked. Yes. This is Special Agent Harris, FBI. We need to talk. Urgently. Her stomach dropped. About what? About Jack Edwards. Or should I say, Anthony Walker. Her pulse thundered in her ears. I don't. We know you work for him, Harris cut in. And we know he's not who he claims to be. You may think you're safe, but trust me, you're not. He's dangerous. Meet me tomorrow. 10 a.m. at the cafe on 5th. The line went dead before she could reply. Jennifer sank into her couch, heart racing. The FBI knew. They knew everything. The next morning, she sat across from Agent Harris in the quiet cafe. He was tall, with graying hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. He slid a file across the table toward her. Anthony Walker, Harris said flatly. Suspected of multiple crimes. Fraud. Money laundering. Ties to organized crime. He disappeared 10 years ago. But he didn't die. He reinvented himself as Jack Edwards. Jennifer's throat was dry. You don't have proof. Harris leaned forward. We don't need proof. We need cooperation. You have access to him. You can help us bring him down before more innocent people get hurt. Her hands trembled as she touched the file. Newspaper clippings, police reports, grainy surveillance photos, all painting Jack as a man with blood on his hands. He's not like that anymore, Jennifer whispered, almost to herself. Harris's gaze sharpened. You've grown close to him, haven't you? Her silence was answer enough. Listen to me, Harris said firmly. Men like him don't change. They just get better at hiding. He'll use you until you're no longer useful. And when that happens, you'll be disposable. Jennifer felt her chest tighten. She wanted to argue, but the words caught in her throat. Help us, Jennifer, Harris pressed. We'll protect you. Otherwise, when his enemies come, you'll be the first target. She left the cafe with the file heavy in her bag and heavier in her heart. That evening, back at the office, Jack was waiting. His gaze swept over her, unreadable. You were late, he said quietly. Jennifer forced a smile. I overslept. You're lying again. His voice was calm, but his eyes cut into her. She swallowed hard. He stepped closer, his voice low. If someone approached you, if someone asked questions about me, you'd tell me, wouldn't you? Her lips parted, but no words came. Jack's jaw tightened. He turned away, running a hand through his hair. Damn it, Jennifer. Don't you see? I can't protect you if you don't trust me. Her voice broke. Then tell me the truth, Jack. All of it. Not pieces. Not half-lies. The truth. He froze, his back to her. Then slowly, he said, the truth would destroy whatever you feel for me. Her heart ached. She stepped forward, touching his arm. Let me decide that. For a moment, the mask slipped. His shoulders sagged, his face filled with a kind of weary pain she'd never seen before. He whispered, I don't deserve you. But I can't let you go. Before she could answer, his hand cupped her face, and he kissed her again, this time softer, slower, filled with longing instead of desperation. Jennifer's thoughts spun, her heart torn between the man she wanted to believe in and the criminal the FBI claimed he was. When they pulled apart, he murmured, If you stay by my side, Jennifer, there's no turning back. And in that moment, she knew she was already too deep. The days that followed were a blur of tension. Jennifer couldn't escape the FBI's file, the weight of their demand. Every time she looked at Jack, she saw both sides of him, the powerful billionaire and the fugitive hiding behind a new name. She told herself to stay away, to guard her heart. But Jack had a way of pulling her back in. Late one night, they worked side by side in his office. The city skyline glowed through the window, and the room was quiet except for the shuffle of papers. Jennifer finally spoke. Jack, do you ever regret it? He didn't look up. Regret what? Your past. Anthony Walker. His hands stilled on the papers. He slowly raised his eyes, meeting hers. Every damn day. Her chest tightened. Then why not tell the world the truth? Why keep hiding? Because the world doesn't forgive men like me, he said bitterly. And because if they knew everything, you'd walk away. She wanted to deny it, but his words struck deep. Jack's expression softened. He stood, coming around the desk. His hand brushed her cheek. But even knowing all that, you're still here. Why, Jennifer? Her breath caught. Because she stopped herself, the word love caught in her throat. But Jack seemed to hear it anyway. He pulled her close, his lips brushing her ear. You'll get hurt because of me. And yet I can't stop wanting you. His confession unraveled her. She kissed him, giving in to everything she'd been fighting against. For that night, in his arms, the world outside didn't exist. But the world never stayed away for long. The next morning, Jennifer woke in his penthouse, wrapped in silk sheets. Jack was already dressed, staring out at the skyline. His face was shadowed, troubled. She slipped out of bed, wrapping a robe around herself. You're quiet. He didn't turn. I had a dream. About the fire. Her stomach clenched. The warehouse fire. He nodded slowly. They said I caused it. That I killed a man. But the truth is worse. Jennifer's breath caught. What do you mean? Jack finally looked at her, his eyes filled with torment. I didn't light the fire. But I didn't stop it either. And someone innocent died because I walked away. The weight of his words crushed her. She wanted to comfort him, to say it wasn't his fault, but part of her knew that choice, that silence, had cost a life. Her phone buzzed suddenly. She grabbed it, her blood running cold when she saw the message. FBI Agent Harris, we need an answer. Are you with us or with him? She quickly tucked the phone away before Jack noticed. But the choice was suffocating her. That evening, Jennifer met Harris in secret once more. You've seen enough now, Harris said firmly. You know what he is. Help us take him down before more blood is on his hands. Jennifer's voice trembled. You don't understand. He's not the man he used to be. Men like him don't change, Harris said coldly. He'll drag you down with him. You think he loves you? He's only using you to protect himself. Tears stung her eyes. That's not true. Harris leaned closer. Then prove it. Give us access to his files, his accounts, his movements. One piece of information, that's all we need. Do it, and you'll be free. Jennifer left the meeting torn in two. That night, when Jack held her close, whispering how he couldn't let her go, her heart ached with guilt. Because now she knew she had to choose, betray him to the FBI, or betray herself by protecting him. And either choice could destroy them both. Jennifer had spent days carrying the weight of her secret meetings with the FBI, the lies she told Jack, and the truth she now knew about his past. The man she loved had admitted to letting someone die. His name, his entire identity, was a mask. And yet, when she looked at him, she saw not a criminal but a man broken by regret, desperately trying to hold on to the empire he had built. But the world was closing in. That morning, Jennifer found Jack in his office, standing by the window with his phone pressed to his ear. His jaw was tight, his voice sharp. No more negotiations, he said coldly. If they come for me, I won't run this time. He hung up and turned. His eyes softened slightly when they landed on her. Jennifer, come here. She stepped closer, her stomach twisting. Who was that? An old contact, he said quietly. The walls are closing in. I thought I'd left it all behind, but the past doesn't stay buried forever. Jennifer wanted to scream. She wanted to tell him that she knew, about the FBI, about Anthony Walker, about everything. But her words tangled in her throat. Instead, she whispered, "What are you going to do?" He looked at her for a long moment. Then, softly, "Fight. Because if I lose everything now, I lose you too." Her chest ached. He thought he was protecting her, but all she could see was the storm about to tear them both apart. That night, Jennifer confronted him at last. "You have to tell me the truth, Jack," she demanded. "All of it. No more half answers." He sat on the edge of his desk, his eyes heavy with exhaustion. "The truth." His voice was bitter. "The truth is that Anthony Walker was a coward. He let fear control him, and it cost someone their life. The fire, everyone thinks I set it. But the truth is worse. I saw it starting. I had the chance to stop it. But I ran. I was so desperate to save myself that I let an innocent man burn." Jennifer's hands shook. "Why didn't you stop it?" "Because I was weak," Jack said harshly. "Because I wanted freedom more than I wanted justice. And I've been paying for it ever since." She covered her mouth, tears blurring her vision. She wanted to hate him. But instead, she saw the boy he had been, terrified, trapped, desperate to escape a world of violence. "I'm not asking for your forgiveness," Jack said quietly. "I just want you to understand why I can never be Anthony Walker again." The room fell silent. Suddenly, the sharp crack of gunfire shattered the moment. Glass exploded inward. Jennifer screamed as bullets tore through the office, shattering furniture. Jack grabbed her, dragging her behind the heavy desk. "Stay down," he shouted. Her heart pounded as men in black masks stormed the floor, their weapons raised. Syndicate enforcers. They had come for Anthony Walker. Jack pulled a gun from his desk drawer, his face set like stone. "They won't take you. Do you hear me? Jack." He leaned close, his lips brushing her ear. "If something happens to me, run. Don't look back. Then he stood, firing at the attackers. The room erupted in chaos, shouts, gunfire, the deafening crash of glass and wood. Jennifer crouched low, covering her ears, tears streaking her face. She watched Jack move with lethal precision, his mask slipping to reveal the man he truly was, ruthless, desperate, fighting like a cornered animal. But then, in the middle of the firefight, she saw it, a flash, a bullet striking him in the side. Jack staggered, blood blooming across his shirt. No! Jennifer screamed, rushing toward him. He collapsed into her arms, his gun slipping from his hand. Around them, the fight raged on, but all Jennifer could see was his face, pale, his lips trembling. Jennifer, he whispered, his hand weakly gripping hers. Don't let them take me back. Promise me. Her tears dripped onto his chest as she pressed her hands over the wound. Stay with me. Please, Jack. Stay with me. His eyes closed, and for a moment, she thought he was gone. The gunfire stopped. Sirens wailed in the distance. The syndicate men fled as quickly as they had come, leaving the office in ruins. Jennifer clung to Jack's body, sobbing. He was still breathing, barely. The door burst open. Agents stormed in, FBI jackets flashing. Agent Harris's voice boomed. Step away from him, Ms. Page. Now. Jennifer shook her head wildly. He's dying. Harris's expression was cold. He made his choices. Let him pay the price. But Jennifer only held him tighter. Jack lay unconscious in the hospital bed, machines beeping steadily beside him. His face was pale, his body fragile, a stark contrast to the powerful billionaire who had once commanded entire boardrooms with a glance. Jennifer sat at his side, her hand clasping his. Her heart ached with every shallow rise and fall of his chest. The FBI was relentless. Agent Harris visited her again, standing over Jack's bed with cold eyes. This is your last chance, he said firmly. Testify against him. Help us bring Anthony Walker down. If you do, you walk free. If not, you go down with him. Jennifer's throat tightened. He's not Anthony Walker anymore. He hasn't been for years. Harris's voice was sharp. The law doesn't care what name he uses. Men like him don't get to walk away. So what's it going to be, Ms. Page? Him or yourself? When Harris left, Jennifer sat in silence, staring at Jack's fragile form. She remembered everything, the ruthless boss, the stolen kisses, the desperate confessions, the man who had saved her life again and again even while dragging her into his darkness. Her phone buzzed. A new message. From the FBI, meeting tomorrow, 9 a.m. We expect your answer. Jennifer's hands shook. That night, Jack stirred faintly, his eyes fluttering open. He looked at her weakly, his voice a rasp. You're still here. Tears filled her eyes. Of course I'm here. You shouldn't be, he whispered. I told you. I'll only ruin you. She squeezed his hand. Then ruin me. I don't care. I won't leave you. He closed his eyes again, a faint smile ghosting his lips. You're too good for me, Jennifer. Her heart shattered. Then let me make my own choices. The next morning, Jennifer stood outside the FBI's office, her reflection staring back at her in the glass doors. She thought of Harris's words. She thought of Jack's. Expose him, and she would be free. Protect him, and she would be complicit. Her hands trembled as she pushed open the door. Agent Harris was waiting. You're right on time, he said coolly. So, what's your decision? Jennifer stared at him, her heart racing. For a moment, silence stretched between them. Then, slowly, she closed the door behind her. A small, knowing smile curved her lips. The world would never know which choice she made.